Hello, Internet. Welcome to a slightly later edition of the Sunday Sketch. Hope you're having a good Father's Day for all the dads out there, and for everyone else, I hope you did something nice to for your dad. Um, so, for my dad, I'm not gonna do his portrait. I did Mom's portrait on Mother's Day, which of course you can check the video for that. But for for Father's Day, um, I just he's busy with some other things, so I asked him, what he'd like to see me draw, and he last movie he saw was Wonder Woman, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to draw Wonder Woman from the movie, but to kind of put a cartoon twist on it. So hopefully it'll still look like Gal Gadot, 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 however you say her name. It'll hopefully look like Wonder Woman from the movie, but adapted more for comics. Let me put it that way. So, first, gonna go ahead and pick a nice pose. And there's plenty of promotional material and such for Wonder Woman out there. I'm gonna pick that one. It's not real colorful, but the shape language works. So I'll try to analyze and capture the shape language, as I've done in previous videos, to try and do my own recreation, right? So the first thing is, of course, the pose, which is looking like this. Shoulder here, so kind of that deal. Rib cage here. Hips don't lie. And knees are there. And then she's got her heels on? Okay, well. She got the sassy boots. And overall, it's a very open and pretty strong pose. Head there. And there you go. So I'm going to try to recreate that pose, adapt it with some cartoon, more cartoony flourishes, and move from there. Her head is kind of tilted a little bit to the side, or a little forward, I suppose, from her perspective. And I gotta say, that music, that Wonder Woman music from Batman vs Superman, and I mean, it was in the Wonder Woman movie somewhat, but it wasn't in the movie enough. Because that was like my favorite part, was that so good. That is the most hype music I have heard in a superhero movie ever. Like, Avengers music is kind of this almost, so like, you've got your Guardians of the Galaxy with their kind of 80s soundtrack, right, or 70s soundtrack, whatever. Um, and then you've got your Avengers, Captain America with their kind of this epic, but ultimately fairly lighter tone, right? And I'm like, Wonder Woman is just going hard, man. I don't necessarily like that like edgier direction that they've taken all of the DC movies, or well, in DC as a whole, really, if you think about it. But that when that guitar, whatever, and when it drops, that when that music drops, it's so good. It's so good. I'm not gonna go into spoilers, but if you haven't seen Wonder Woman yet, you definitely should. It's been out long enough that I feel like you should just do it. So yeah, let's fade this out so I can get a better look at the one thing is her top is like strapless or something. I'm like, how does that stay on? I don't know. It doesn't matter. She's a superhero. Whatever. And of course, you got to get your highly impractical boob plate going on. Because again, superhero. So what do you want? And her little skirt. Wonder Woman. Of course, that's the old. I forget the actress's name, but the old TV show Wonder Woman theme, which I think is also pretty great, but in a different way, in a very uh, in that very old school kind of way. Like when you hear the Batman music and you're like, na 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 Batman. It's like, yeah, yeah, Batman. And Adam West Batman was campy and stuff, but that Wonder Woman theme kind of also hits me in the nostalgia. It hits me in the nostalgia place. All the world is waiting for you and the power you possess. Something about satin tights. Don't know how the rest goes. Wonder Woman. And she's got her lasso on her leg, on her hip there. She gon' lasso and get some truth. And then she's got her ridiculous combat heels. Because because that makes sense. I mean, I hope I didn't actually like look closely at it in the movie, but I definitely hope that this is not what actually went into it, Like especially after the whole Power Rangers thing. I mean, I know to an extent it's kind of part of the Wonder Woman aesthetic, right? But at the same time, I'm like, if Power Rangers can't get away with, battle wedges or whatever, why does Wonder Woman get a pass? Because it's freaking Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman is awesome, and Power Rangers is cheesy and dumb. But so is Wonder Woman, kind of. If you think about it, like all of those superheroes are. Except I put her leg too low. Because her feet are here. And slightly below here. Woman. I'll stop singing now. I lied. I'm probably not gonna stop singing. It's just, I don't know. There's some hype about it. I get hyped. So basically that, right? And you got her eyes being all intense and whatnot. So really, all right. Eating my pizza while I'm drawing.
Can't react.
I can react however I want.
The most woman will see. You have your stream to focus on.
Yeah, I'm focusing. I gotta draw Wonder Woman. You. Don't think this is over. Okay. So now that I have kind of a base sketch, right? I'm gonna start going into a little bit more of the details, and I'm gonna kind of cartoonify her a little bit, right? So we look at Gal's face over there. I'm probably saying her name wrong, but whatever. And one thing that I notice is her eyes are pretty great. And that eh. Did y'all notice that eh? Look at that eh. Just right up in there. She's got pretty strong eyebrows too. So I'm gonna give her pretty strong eyebrows. Right? Right. 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 And then she's also got pretty good cheekbones. I'm gonna give her pretty good cheekbones. Let's turn this down a little bit. I can barely see what I'm doing. There we go. That's better. She's got kind of a longish nose, I think. It's a very strong nose, I feel. She's got overall, she just looks strong. And then she's got the little, I love her mouth shape. Like, it is basically my favorite thing about her face. Cause, like, look at that. Look at how her little mouth thing. She's got like a quintessential comic book like lips or whatever. I mean, it's so good. So good. You just right there. Right? Anyways, enough about that. Back to my kind of sort of Wonder Woman looking thing. So you gotta give her those same lips, right? Just just like that, right? It's actually not bad. Give her a little dimple thing there. There we go. I'm gonna fix up her eyes because I think that's probably the least good looking part about what I got going on right now. And her expression, her eye shape and her expression are a little different. Because she's more like looking up this way, right? And then like except her eye is like in here. So it's more like that. And then she's got her red crown thing. See if we can see an ear. We really can't see her ears, but that's fine. I'll just go with it that way. And this is where we start to stylize even more with her hair. She's got just a little bit of her hair hanging off her shoulder here. Then we got her collarbone, which is important to break up some of the shapes. And then actually, I think I drew her head a little out of proportion with my underdrawing, so we're going to scoop this up a little bit so that her boobs don't hang down quite so much, although they still will, because, you know, gravity and stuff. It's fine. And we're going to bring that boob eagle over. It's actually got a really interesting shape going on in there, too. See if we can't get some of that. More in there like that, right? And then that just dives all the way down there. So this comes up, gets that W shape in there, which is super important for Wonder Woman, of course. And then this just plunges down here. So we're kind of looking at that. And of course, while real Wonder Woman gets all of the neat detail and stuff on her breastplate, cartoon Wonder Woman wouldn't and also doesn't have that because, and even in the comics they can get a little more detailed because it's still images, but in when you're animating a cartoon you want to simplify a lot of your shapes and stuff, so it's going to look more like that as far as what the armor would look like in a cartoon setting. It would probably just look more or less like that. Let's get a look at her belt. Her belt has the cool W thing going on too. And actually looks like this splits off a little bit, so let's see if we can get that belt in there. Comes in right about here, and we get a nice W shape going on there. And then her little eagle, her little boob eagle buddy also splits right there where it's like tail splits off, right? So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Actually, let's go ahead and just cut all of this out. We'll give it that just to help with the shape language, because I think having that shape there is pretty important. And then after that, her skirt comes in, and she's got that really cool... her skirts are actually pretty cool. Allows for a lot of movement. Her awesome like leather skirt with the different like folds in it and different panels, fabric panels. like a Roman style gladiator kilt thing. It's pretty rad. And then her chest belt stuff going on right here. Right, so she's got that going on, and that probably has more to do with her sword than anything else. Although she can probably use that to holster her shield and other stuff as well. It's actually balled in a fist closer to her thigh. Something like that. And because we're a cartoon, we're going to take a little more liberties with the shape. Give her a really exaggerated figure, but she's still got, she's still got that shape. Just exaggerating it a little bit because, cartoons. Is what we do. Okay. So next we're gonna come down. Now we moved the whole arm down, so it actually doesn't go down that far, but it is down a ways by her. Thigh again, right? And it is slightly lower than her other hand, or slightly more forward rather. And then she's got the cool sword. And apparently we're changing the angle of the sword a little bit as well. Oof, or a lot. If we're not careful. Give her a kick-in Roman gladius kind of a sword. Greco-Roman, And then her, I mean, the rest of it's probably the easiest because it's just her legs, right? She's got her boot things. Oop. Her kneecaps, right? And there you go. Got a nice cartoon version of the Wonder Woman poster. Kinda. See how we're doing for time. I got time to do some more. So from here, of course, we can do even more cleanup, make it look nicer. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that on the, starting with the head. And the eyes, of course. Because I think those were the part, that was the part I was least happy with. Should probably give her, you know what, let's give her bigger cartoon, more cartoonish eyes. She is Diana of Themyscira. Oh yeah. Alright, now I'm gonna put a thicker outline around her hair. Still playing around with things like line weight. Nice technical term for you art nerds out there. Shape language and line weight. For those of you who are not art nerds, line weight being the width of your line, basically, the line stroke. Just how thick it is. That's all that means. Lines don't actually weigh anything. Let's see how that looks all nice and cleaned up. It does look nice and cleaned up, yeah. We can go a little further. Ooh. That's a little too far. And of course, if I were working on a real cartoon, there'd be, cleanup animators and all sorts of things like that that would take this to the next level. Which is something I could do at some point. Although a lot of cleanup animation, I think, is the stuff that gets outsourced to those studios in Korea that you hear about. Anyway, this is about what I'll be doing. I mentioned a little while back that I am gonna, at the end of the year, I'm gonna take the video with the most thumbs up, likes on it, and finish the piece, right? Because I mostly do these sketches like this. So I would definitely come back to whichever piece I'm working on, touch it up, make it look pretty, and kind of do this treatment to it, right? The next direction I'd go in with this part in particular is just to establish, probably just establish lights and darks. I could go into color, but I think that ends up making it harder than it needs to be. Starting in black and white first, you get, I feel like you get stronger shapes. So, like that's gonna be dark. And then this section in here, we're gonna get a shadow here. And then we're gonna get a shadow here. A little shadow under the nose. Another shadow to give the lips shape. And then lighting on metal is actually really interesting because you get reflective surfaces which require you to shade it a certain way, right? So you get reflected light, essentially, from there. So the shadows on metal, I feel like, almost never reach the actual edge it's supposed to be shaded on. Sometimes you get these double lines, which are kind of cool too. And then this section's gonna be darker. And this section's gonna be darker. Oh, why is it all black? Well, I'll show you in a second. Because I'm gonna turn it into an overlay layer. And go from there. But with the background being white like that, you really can't see the overlay layer. But now if I come in and put color in, right? So I'm gonna put in, let's say, a nice 50% gray. Maybe. And if I can figure out how to do that. Let's just do that, that's fine. Yeah, that's about 50%. So I come in here and I put in a nice 50% gray. And oh look, all the black from the overlay layer shows up. Oh, I should probably do this in a... Ooh, got that. Some technical issues. Got it under control. There we go. And then on that same overlay layer, because I mean, it doesn't have to be the same overlay layer, but totally can be, right? Do the lights. Which is, of course, where all your lights are gonna hit on the subject, right? Gotta get those cheekbones. A lot of what are called bony landmarks are where the lights are gonna hit the most. Do I sound like I've been to art school yet? So there, and then we just bring that out a little bit. You know what? The white is proving to be a bit distracting, so I'm gonna go ahead and, I think, take it out of that layer. Well, we'll see. It's not too bad. Maybe if we blur it a little bit. Not too bad. Could be better. I'll have to practice my lights and shadows, I think, before I try and finish a piece like this up. Because really, I think I'd want to take the highlights to maybe there? Maybe there. And then the shadows basically back where they were. So the next step, of course, would be coming in and adding all of the colors. It doesn't really matter. Which, not strictly necessary, but I'll show you what it looks like, or what it would look like. Make sure I try and get her skin tone matched as well as I can. Now in the picture it's much darker. Because of the lighting, right? But ish. should be somewhere in this neighborhood. Don't look now, but it almost looks like Wonder Woman. I mean, do look now, obviously, because you're watching the video, but you know what I'm saying. Maybe not that red. There we go. Expand around the eye a little bit. And then her eyes, I believe, are pretty dark colored. But it honestly, I think it varies from Wonder Woman to Wonder Woman, as far as I can tell. But I'm pretty sure they'd look something like that. Her gold tiara thing is probably in this neighborhood. Let's saturate it a little bit more than that. Really make it pop. And in fact, maybe saturate her skin a little more too. Well, I don't want it to look like she's, like, pallid or anything. There we go. Now it looks like her skin's warming up a bit without losing some of that tone. I've decided, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've decided I like to work on sketches in this smaller format, just because it makes them easier for me to, manipulate and work with. And I only, stream these things for like an hour, so it doesn't give me a whole lot of time to do things. But when I go in to do like a full piece, I want to probably blow it up. So that I can get some good detail on it. Of course, there are also different shading styles that I'm not really getting into right now. I could use you know, closer to like what's called cell shading, you know, stuff like that. Um, but I think the softened overlay layer thing makes it work. I think if I did finish this piece in particular, I'd probably go even more cartoony and stylized than this, and probably aim at that cel shaded look. Um, and when I'm like, for instance, when I cleaned up that Zarya icon from the image that I was working on of Zarya, I pretty much did this same process. Just took a chunk that I liked, cleaned it up, made it look pretty, put some captions on it. So you'll probably see this image as, if not as the thumbnail, then like part of the thumbnail for sure. You'll probably just see the little Wonder Woman face. Because personally, I think this turned out pretty well. Maybe not my strongest material, but pretty good. And of course, this is a work in progress. If you want to see me finish the cartoon Wonder Woman, cartoon movie style Wonder Woman, then of course leave a thumbs up on the video. And during the month of December, I will be doing a big old series where I finish up the piece with the most likes on it, and I make it all nice and pretty. So if you want to see Wonder Woman get that spot, go ahead and leave a thumbs up on the video. As always, if you want to see a character mashed up with a different style, so you know, you want me to draw, say, Wonder Woman, but maybe in Steven Universe, something like that. Of course, you can leave comments on any of my videos, and at the end of the month, I do my fan art fusion streams. So please, I am starting to run a little dry on that list. Leave comments, and I will draw my little heart out on that weekend, which I believe for this month is Sunday the 25th, so next Sunday, actually. Coming up real soon. I thought I had one more week there, but that's actually the 2nd of July, so it'll be next weekend. Fan Art Fusion. Be there. Hope you enjoyed the video. Go see Wonder Woman if you haven't seen it already. I saw it in 4DX, something like that, where they threw all these extra effects in and moved the chairs and stuff. If you've got back problems or anything, I don't think I'd recommend that. But it was actually a lot of fun. I thought it was going to be super distracting at first, and it kind of was. But by the time you're like, I don't know, 10 minutes into the movie, you kind of forget that stuff isn't supposed to move around you, and the movement of your seat and the lights flashing, and everything like that, it just kind of adds to the immersion, which is actually really cool. And I look forward to seeing more movies use that. And the 3D glasses didn't make my brain hurt from the 3D effect either. I'm really glad 3D movies have been stepping away from those kind of gimmicky, oh, it's popping out right at me kind of effects, in favor of making it feel more natural. Anyway, that's my little plug for watching it in 4D, I guess. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Thanks for watching.